going, folks? Richard from Chaos Collectibles here once again with Steve
from S3D Toys.
And today we are going to review some of these awesome Valaverse figures, as well as this really, really cool vehicle we got right here.
The Vanguard.
This is amazing just looking at it. So, Steve, what do we have in front of us?
Well, what we have here are a few of the Valaverse Action Force figures and the Vanguard vehicle. I mean, these figures are amazing, and we'll go through some of them. Unfortunately, I did forget to bring some of the extra, like the alternate heads and stuff like that. But we'll go through some of the figures, their names, and just some of the cool things I think that I like about them. And same, you know.
Yeah, and this is just has floored me just looking. I've seen pictures of this this vehicle, and it always looked really cool, but you know, pictures do not do it justice. I will definitely say that for sure.
See, and I'll tell you, I agree with that. So the funny thing is, in regards to this vehicle, so I had seen it before online when Bobby Vala had first shown it off to the public, and I was amazed even with the pictures. And I'm not normally amazed with stuff I see online, but at the time, and even though the price point was actually really good for something. Actually, it's an amazing price for something this big. But at the time, I was like, okay, I had a lot of other things going on. And I had actually initially had put in for a pre-order. And then I wound up, which I don't normally cancel pre-orders, but I wound up canceling it only because I had some unexpected things come up, which happens. And I was like, you know what? I had so many big things, and I was thinking, okay, where am I going to have for space? So I actually wound up not back in this, or initially, although I had a bunch of the figures, because I love the figures, especially the Swarm figures, which I'll show those off here shortly. But then we were at the DFW show, and I'll say the best thing that happened to us there was them putting us next to the Valaverse booth. Especially observing, the way Bobby and his crew, the way they do things, the way they talk to their customers. I mean, they're so giving to them, and their customers are very loyal, and that's the one really cool thing, and they're very hospitable, so and charitable. I mean, it's cool. Like I saw so many people paying it forward, like it was like one after another would go and they'd buy a figure, but then they'd buy 10 figures for other people in line, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I've never seen that before, ever in this industry. At all, or any convention, any show.
I mean, when it comes down to it, for the most part, toy collecting is very cutthroat, and it's what's. I won't say it's mostly cutthroat. It's become over the last since COVID, it's become kind of cutthroat because I don't know. I think a lot of people really got into toy collecting over COVID as something to do who weren't as passionate about the hobby as a lot of people that were initially toy collectors. So it created kind of a toxic environment around some of it. That's why you saw things skyrocket in price for really no reason.
Yeah.
And it's really been kind of detrimental in a way, but also beneficial in a way because it brought a lot more notice to the toy community, and it's brought a lot more possibilities of getting new stuff out there and new lines, and like the popularity has been making toy companies aware that people are wanting these things. But like I said, it's also led to some price gouging, and then there is some toxic behavior.
Oh yeah, and there definitely is. But that's the one thing I did not see with the Valaverse, with their fans. For the most part, their fans were very, very loyal, I didn't see any of that toxic behavior, to be honest. Like, I saw just the opposite. And that was the cool thing, was I saw so many people paying it forward. But Bobby also, he does that too, though. I mean, he's done so many charitable things, like with the pink Steel Brigade, and then the pink Vanguard, with the proceeds, a lot of it going towards breast cancer, and so that there, and especially like with I have family, grandmother who had breast cancer. My aunt had breast cancer. My wife has had two grandmothers passed from cancer, a grandfather who passed from cancer, an aunt who passed this year from cancer, along with, other family members who are going through it. And so it was something that it means something to us, especially, and knowing that he's doing that when a lot of other companies don't.
Yeah.
So again, I saw something different. And so and I also just saw the way, he really, and again, his interaction, the way his crew interacted with people, there was a sense of, camaraderie. You know what I mean? And, so I was real impressed with that. The fact that he took his guys out to dinner afterwards and treated them to a really nice, steak place. Hasbro doesn't do that for their employees, And so, again, with it being very personable, so that itself was really cool. So, again, I'll get off that part. But with them being next to us and we've been able to see how they operate, I kind of learned some do's and don'ts. Well, I learned a lot of do's and don'ts because I did more of the stuff you don't do when I was at this show. And they were doing all the things you are supposed to do. So that was actually really kind of cool. I feel like, in a way, it's like I got a little, a civic lesson on what to do. A civics lesson. You know what I mean? And so that was really cool. But then, so my wife, she goes to the Valaverse booth and she's looking at the stuff. And in fact, I think everybody had closed up and they had something on display. And my wife's like, hey, come check this out. I'm like, no, sorry. They're closing up. Let's leave them be. She's like, but you got to see this vehicle. Have you seen the Vanguard? I said, yeah, I've seen pictures. And she's like, but did you order one? I was like, no. I said, I'm good. And she's like, but you really got to see it. You're going to want it. And I told her, I said, well, that's the problem. If I see it, I'm going to want it. We don't have space. And she's like, yeah, but I want one. And she's like, you got to see it. And so I'm like, all right, son of a gun. All right, I'm going to go check it out. And I'm looking, and she's like looking at it. And I'm like, son of a bitch. I'm like, God damn it, Tori. Now excuse my language, you guys. I'm like, now I have to have it. Like, this thing was awesome in person. And
yeah.
So, of course, I wound up ordering, a couple, and she loves it. So, like, she really wanted a pink one, and they only made 50 of them, and I'm pretty sure they're all gone. I mean, he did give some of them away, which I thought was really cool, and everyone who's posted who've gotten one, they're all people who've been victims of cancer or somebody, a family member, something like that. Mm-hmm. So I think that's really cool that he's done that. And then some people were able to acquire them. I don't know if this part, but this is what I heard online. If you spent so much, you could spin like this wheel or whatever, and there's a chance to buy one. And so I think that's really cool. And the fact that the proceeds went,
to breast cancer.
I just thought that was amazing.
Yeah.
So I told my wife, she's like, well, maybe one day she'll get one. I'm like, yeah, no, we can't afford aftermarket price. But I told her what I'll eventually do is I will buy a tan version, another one, and then custom paint it. I'll take it apart.
Oh yeah, that's easy to do.
Yeah, and that's just because, again, it's something she wants, and I've never seen her ever.
Honestly, I've been looking at this thing thinking how fun it would be to customize.
Right? Well, and I'll probably, since you do the painting, I'll probably bring one over, have you paint it. Obviously, anything that's black, I'll leave black, but disassemble it, have you paint it, and then that way she still gets one. And she's not going to care if it was one that was an original paint or right. She just likes pink. She likes what it stands for. She loves her Steel Brigade figures. She has two of them, one that's opened and one that's sealed. And so she really digs it. And I think it's a fantastic vehicle. It's really well built.
It's amazing. Just the details and the minor details. Things like, well, once again, like we had said on the Dragonfly, the rivets. You have your rivets here. But like along the cannon, this is something that you don't get from a lot of the big companies. Mm-hmm. There is dry brushing in here, in the vents. And it's very slight. And all it is, and literally all it is, it's black on black dry brushing, but it's enough to bring a glint to it. You know what I'm saying? So you can tell the difference. And it's just like the little things. So, the two-tone with the bullets, and like, you know, you'll get this a lot of times where it's just one color, or just it would just be gold. You wouldn't see the black belt. This, you know, the canisters are like, the little details are amazing on this thing. It's beautiful. And honestly, I think it's better than anything Hasbro's put out. As far as the fact that it's a modern vehicle.
Yes.
You know, and not a modernized version of something that we've seen before. You know, not a more modern version of something. So this is an original, something that's completely done. Like, and it's cool, which is something I think Hasbro's missing. I mean, we all want to see all the original stuff. Of course, everybody wants that. But I mean, I think it would be beneficial to introduce some original, modern vehicles too. And this is, and the awesome thing is it's on the same scale. So.
Right. Oh yeah. Although I'll tell you right now, so I had a couple Joes in there. I've kicked them out. So now it's all Valaverse. Like, I sent Bobby an email a while back ago, or a message. I was like, you need some decals. One that says no Joes, you know? Like, just because, like, I can't disrespect this by putting Joes in here. You know what I mean? It's too cool. Because, I'm sorry, the classified stuff, yeah, there's some cool stuff. They're not as cool as the Action Force stuff.
Well, that's when you get into the, once again, when we talk about the minute details that you have on this vehicle, you have the same thing going on the action figures, which is something that I have said over and over again that Hasbro misses on with the Joes. It's, you know, it's you know, 3 body types.
Yep.
And it's just stamping out the same character, like stamping out the same figures with, you know, different hands, different heads, you know, a slightly different paint scheme. But other than that, it's the same torso, the same legs, you know, those weird shin guard things that they had going on their boots. But the depth of these characters, from like you know, and you had certain ones that Hasbro had put out with the G.I. Joe, like there was the Rock and Roll. Rock and Roll had his, you know, his tattoos, and it made him look different. But I mean, just in general, there is so much that that Valaverse does that Hasbro's missing on.
Oh yeah, took the gun off there by mistake.
Taking out the gunner.
Right? No, but I mean, I love just the features on this. Like, for example, the trunk, when you open it up, you know, it's got a machine gun in the back, you know, so you can have somebody sitting back here, you know, and surprise somebody, be like, hey, surprise, got a machine gun, you know. So anybody who's behind you, well, they're not going to be there for long. I mean, again, just the detail on this, and I know the people have done reviews on this already, so if there's anything I miss, I do apologize, but I mean, I love this so much.
And the other thing is, it's a Valaverse weapon. So number one, it doesn't look like a Nerf gun,
right? And it's not made
flimsy. It's not made of that weird flimsy material.
Exactly. This is a nice hard plastic. It keeps its true form. And I'll tell you. So you remember before I said, well, I didn't know where I'd put it. Well, I made space for this. You know, I actually moved some Joe stuff out of the way because this was more. Actually, his tank is no longer on display. This took over where the HasLab his tank was, because I feel like this is better than the HasLab his tank.
Going back to the details, this even has a gas cap. Okay,
right? Oh yeah. Well, and then on top of that, so one of the things I love about this vehicle, the seats actually move forward and backwards. You know, and so here I'll pull actually some figures out, and we'll open up from different sides. But I love the detail on the doors, both the inside and outside of the doors here. You know, the seats actually move forward and backwards. So depending on the leg room of the character, now I've got a figure in here, so it's a little difficult to do, especially from that angle. But the seats move back and forward and backwards, which I thought was a really cool feature to this. You know, one of the things I liked was the rope for the winch is black. It's not white. Like, I hate when they give a white rope, and that's something Hasbro does. And their rope is actually pretty long. I can zoom out the camera a bit to show you guys. But it's a long rope. Hasbro's would have been half the size. And again, I hate comparing, but it's true. Valaverse has given us something that other companies are not doing.
Yeah.
And so, and I love the details on this. I know they did a muddy version for the gray or this color. I might be saying it wrong. I don't know if it's gray or if it's what color they called it.
Yeah, it's like a gunmetal gray.
Yeah, and then with the tan, they did the muddy ones, and I thought those were cool. But I really love
the clean look.
Yeah, I like the clean look on these. Although I thought the muddy ones were awesome too. But at that point, I did have to think about room and.
This would be cool to get one of these, and what you do is you get like a toothpick, heat it up, and you melt part of it so it looks like bullet holes in it.
Yeah, I'd rather just put decals. I can't do that. I can't ruin this thing. Like, I just love it too much. I mean, again, my wife, I will get a tan one, and I'll have you paint it pink for her. Because, and then get this, man. This is the coolest freaking thing. So, let's say you're driving down, the road, and, your figure, he just needs his little caffeine drink. Well, he has a little Valaverse coffee mug. Coffee cup, and then he's got his energy can right here, that he's holding. So I thought that was kind of cool, and they fit in the cup holders. So I mean, I just thought just the extra little detail, the things that they threw in, like I'll take this figure in the back out.
Even the details in the seat, in the how there's padding in the seats. It looks like it, and it's not just the flat. Hard plastic, like the back end of a police cruiser.
Right. Well, and the other thing too. So if you look up close, there's stitching on the seats, so it looks like leather seats.
Yeah.
The stitching on that. I mean, that's just amazing. And then the floors. It looks like they have like the leather or the vinyl type floors that you'd have in some of the vehicles where you can see the texture.
Yeah.
The seats move back and forward. I was able to do it on this one here. You've got rear cup holders. I mean, again, all the detail that they've done. The cockpit, the consoles are amazing. There's detail on the inside of the doors.
Yeah, they even have dry brushing on the trim, on the door panels.
Oh, yeah. I mean, everything. Like, you've got the little handles. You've got, again, just the detail that they've done, they've added to this. Is absolutely, it's just outstanding. He definitely did not skimp when it came to this vehicle at all.
Yeah.
And again, for the price, it was amazing. And so, like I said, I'm going to order one more of the tan ones, just so I can customize it, because, I know my wife loves this vehicle, and getting one that's, and actually, I think even to the point now, I don't think she even cares if I did the pink or not, because she just loved the way the vehicle looks. I mean, yeah, she loves the breast cancer thing, she loves the pink, but I just want to do it for her just because, what it means.
I think
she loves the way it looks.
I think this would look awesome in pink.
I think so too, yeah.
Honestly, doing another way it would look cool is, because this is a matte black, doing this in a shiny black. Like black on black would look really cool too. Do it like completely blacked out.
Yeah, and that might be cool. I mean, for me personally, if they did a version that was black, I would buy one.
Yeah.
But for paint wise, I think I'll definitely, I'll have you do one that'll be pink for her, and because that's something that she'd really, she'd put on display probably in her classroom. Maybe without the guns, because they can't really have stuff with guns. So she has her Steel Brigade figure. There's no guns on her figure because it's a kindergarten class, but she loves it. She keeps it on display. Again, it's a fantastic vehicle. I forgot to bring the other attachment that goes up here, so I'm a really bad reviewer. But and by the way, just so you guys know, I'm not being paid. I even told Bobby I would never want anything for free. I actually am one of those guys where I believe in honest reviews. And I think the best way to do an honest review is you pay for the item, you buy it, and you give an honest review. And that's how much I love this is I buy my stuff. I don't get things for free, and I don't want things for free because number one, I believe in supporting amazing companies, and I would rather give Bobby money because I know it's going towards an amazing guy, an amazing company, and I'll give the best, and I'll give an honest review. And my honest review is I freaking love this thing.
Yeah, even the detail on the dash and
Everything
and the steering wheel, the air vents, like these are little things that you don't see a lot of the bigger companies doing.
Right.
And I'm not even just talking about like Hasbro. If you look at stuff that McFarlane puts out, none. I mean, you're not going to see air vents or a gas cap or something like that on a lot of it. Now, granted, a lot of fantasy vehicles don't need that stuff. But,
yeah.
I mean, it's the little details do go a long way.
And some of those companies, you might see some of that stuff, but again, I feel like there are things that you don't see with them, or they lack in quality. So, obviously, we've talked, and I designed the Dragonfly, but with the Dragonfly, I'm already having an issue with the canopy. Mm-hmm. I had to call consumer care today to have a new canopy ordered, which I guess they're going to be coming in January, because the canopy's already broken. And you could tell with the quality that Valaverse is delivering is so much more superior than anything Hasbro's putting out. So even though, there's a lot of detail on the Dragonfly, the quality on the Dragonfly it's lacking.
Yeah.
And that's not just with that, it's with most of Hasbro stuff. I feel like it's almost like JSI. So JSI was a company that made 1/18 scale accurate aircraft.
Uh-huh.
Well, I remember having these Tomcats, and with JSI, you looked at it wrong, and the stuff would break. I felt like you couldn't even touch it. You looked at it, and the landing gear broke. But then you had BBI. Now, BBI might have missed, or Elite Force, or whatever it was called, might have missed some of the details, but at least their stuff was sturdy. It was strong.
I am floored by the fact I did not know the Valaverse figures had drop hips. Very few. So what a drop hip is it allows action figures to sit in certain ways that other ones don't, because usually you're
zoom up on her.
Oops.
Oh, that was. All right.
Usually your hip will just simply, like, it's a ball joint and it's a straight T, so your leg will go like this. But this allows, see how it goes?
Oh, yeah.
So you can drop, and it allows them to sit, cross-legged, and or like to sit more like people actually sit. Drop hips are something that are very rarely used.
Oh yeah, look at
on action figures. It's something that WWE had just started doing with their Ultimate Edition figures. Those ones have drop hips, but other than that, on most action figures, you don't get the drop hip. It's really rare, and that's something. It's a little detail that it provides better playability.
Yeah,
and the details just in the paint applications on this. There's texturing, there's dry brushing, there's a lot of stuff that you won't see with other companies that find those fine details, and it's actually pretty flooring. Like I've always liked the Valaverse figures. I've always thought they were really cool. I don't own any. I need to, but
yes, you definitely need to. Well, see, and I'm going to tell you something. So, and that's okay. So one of the figures you're holding up right here was this is Pandora, and so when I was at the DFW show, I had bought a bunch of figures that I knew I had already wanted. I mean, I'll show some of those off here shortly, but this was one that I'd seen pictures of her. And when the saying pictures don't do justice,
right?
Well, just for me, because I'm a very visual, I want to see it more in person, and so I didn't pay much attention to Pandora, and so plus I don't normally collect a lot of the female figures, anyways, so I never really paid much attention to her, or really noticed her as much. But then I had asked Bobby what his favorite design was that he had done. And he had said Pandora, because I wanted to buy one and have him autograph it. And I was like, crap. Okay, it was a figure that I was least wanting. So I wound up looking at her. I said, okay, well, I'll buy one if you autograph it. And he said, okay. And he was really nice about it. And then we went to the hotel that night, and I'm looking at it, and I'm like, son of a gun. This is actually
amazing.
really a freaking cool. And I'm going to tell you right now, and I love, see, here's the thing. I'm really into their Swarm figures. It's one of my favorite figures.
Yeah, it's a very awesome line.
But she is now my favorite character, other than Colonel Siege is right there kind of behind, because I love cigars, and he's got his cigar.
I like that about him, too.
And he reminds me of like a Hannibal Smith from like A-Team, like meets, freaking, what's his name from, the guy from The Walking Dead who died earlier, Shane.
Oh, Shane.
He kind of has that look to him, just a very manly, like, I'm going to beat your ass.
Like an old school 80s action hero.
Yes, exactly.
The crazy thing is, when I first saw, this is the first Valaverse figure I ever saw.
Really?
This is my favorite Valaverse figure. The details, everything from the eyes, the scar on the mouth, I was floored by the amount of detail they put in this figure. And when I first saw her, I was like, this is what Zorana should look like.
Right?
This is like, she looks like a badass.
Well, and that's the thing. She does. And so, but again, when see, and just so you guys know, I'm not joshing you on this. This was technically the first one I bought, because this was the autographed, signed one from Bobby. And so, and again, when I got her, I took her home that night, and I started looking at her. Not home. Took her to the hotel. Started looking at her. I'm like, fuck, I really like her. And she has an alternate head, so I got an alternate head.
And
pack.
I'm looking at the weapons.
And I fell in love with this figure, and so the next day I had to buy, because I don't ever buy anything that I have signed. So I had to have one that I could open at that point. And so I did. I wound up buying another one, because I was like, all right, now she's going to be leading my Valaverse team,
Yes.
Because she's just, dude, you're right. She is the ultimate. She's how Zorana should look.
Yeah, exactly. She's exactly what Zorana should look like.
But, and even though she's like how Zorana should look, to me, she's not even Zorana. She is Pandora.
Right.
She is Pandora, this badass.
I'm just saying the Zorana that we get is very, as much as she's ridden like a badass, she comes off there, and I get it, it was 80s cartoons, so she comes off very dainty. This chick looks like you don't want to mess with her.
Although, I always thought this, though. How badass could Zorana be if she falls in love with Mainframe, of all people? Right? It was Mainframe, right?
Mainframe's awesome. What are you talking about?
I guess.
Everybody loves a geek.
Right? Yeah, maybe. I mean, you would have thought she would have cut his throat or something like that.
I'll always fall for the tech guy. The tech guy knows all the secrets.
But yeah, no, she's badass. I mean,
she looks amazing. Even down to the detail on her tattoos is.
Oh, I know.
A lot of times with action figures, the tattoos come out very muddled, very you can't really tell what they are, or they get kind of lazy.
Well, and if you look at her, the eyeshadow, around her eyes,
the sunken eye,
yeah, she's got the scars, and they don't look cheap.
Yeah,
it looks well done. The earring, her lip where she's looks like she's licking her teeth.
Yeah.
I mean, she is a well done, more than well done. She is. I would say this I know I'm not a judge, but if I were a judge and had to give an action figure of the year award, I would give it to her. 100%. Yeah, and I would say this is the best designed figure I've ever seen in my entire life. I cannot say of any figure that's better than this. I mean, and he has a lot of amazing figures. But I'm saying better than any other action figure I have ever seen. I would give her action figure of the year, century. She, again, and especially seeing her in person, I love this character.
Yeah, it's and they have their own comic book too, right?
Yeah, they have a comic book. Which set okay, so that's the other thing. So
Remember,
normally
I tried to buy the comic book on their website, and it was out of print, or it was sold out for a while, and I know it came back.
well, see, and that's the other thing too. So normally, for me to buy something, there has to be a meaning behind it. Like I have to be a story. This is the first and I'm guilty of not reading the comic. This is the first action figure line that I have fallen in love with that I don't even know the backstory. I don't know any of the backstory to it. And I'm just in love because the figures are so well done. And the company is ran by amazing people who know toys, who love toys. And so for me, I will always forever be an Action Force fan, or Valaverse fan especially, because of what they have done, because of what they've released. Again, these figures are amazing. I mean, we'll go to we'll go to this figure here. This is the Pink Steel Brigade. I know we talked about it earlier. I have two, and my wife has two, and they are amazing figures. I love the fact she's got the breast cancer, symbol on her chest plate here. I don't know if you guys can see that there. It's a little fuzzy because I'm zooming in all that way. So, but again, just an amazing figure. Let's zoom out.
Yeah, I really like the mag carriers. The details are just amazing. It's just, and it doesn't feel flimsy. It doesn't feel cheap.
Look at the detail on the guns.
Yeah,
I mean, the real world
yeah,
guns.
they're legitimate guns. Yeah,
And again, the detail. They're not soft, cheap, crappy, bendable plastic. This is actually made out of a nice, hard plastic that you can tell there's quality.
even the wet gear, even though it's flexible, it has some solidity to it. It's not super super pliable.
Yeah. And then I'll show you this other character who's one of my favorites. Oh, I love the stands. The stands are fantastic. Now, there's this guy who, he's one of my, now, they're the only there are a couple characters I didn't buy yet in this line that I'm going to buy here soon. But he's, by far, for Wave 5, this is my favorite character. And this is Colonel Siege. He has two different heads. And I don't know if they have an accessory pack, because a lot of times he'll do special accessory packs where there's another alternate head.
Yeah.
But he comes with two heads. There's one where he's got the cigar in his mouth, and then he's got one in his hand. I'm using the one where he doesn't have it in his mouth, he just has a cigar in his hand. But I love this character. I mean, I feel like, and I'll hand him over to you in a sec here. Here, I'll zoom up on it. But he's a fantastic character. And then later on, I'll post some photos online of him too. There's plenty of photos online of him. But everything from the fade around his his haircut.
Yeah, his fade, his goatee, man, that's
his guns.
His jacket too,
Oh yeah. And he's a fantastic figure.
Yeah, he does look very much like an 80s action hero.
And he does, and that's the thing, but he looks like somebody, if you ran across, you'd want to run the other way.
Yeah.
You wouldn't want to piss this guy off, and, he looks very, again, 80s action, very badass, And so, again, he is definitely one of my favorite characters. And there's quite a few in this wave. The next one I'll show you, and I love him, and I love the helmet. This one is Atlas, is his name. And look at the mag carriers he's got his, looks like flashbangs and regular grenade pouches. His sidearm. He's got a spot for a suppressor in the back.
Yeah, this guy's ready for freaking war.
Right? the goggles move up and down.
That's awesome.
I mean, talk about an amazing. Then look at the tattoo on the back of his neck, on the side of his neck.
Oh wow! Yeah.
Right, and then on his wrist, he's got his watch. I mean, just the detail on these figures. Again, I mean, they blow me away. You know, there is nothing else on the market comparable to this. Nothing.
Yeah, no.
Nothing. And I'm not even going to mention the other company anymore because they're not even worthy of being used in the same sentence as the Valaverse stuff. Because the Valaverse stuff is on such another level of just superior products. I mean, look at this machine gun.
Yeah, that was nice.
Right?
It's the one thing that's always got me is their wet gear and their weapons have before. Like, I'd only seen pictures of the figures other than, like, I saw her in person. But the rest of them I'd always seen pictures of. And they look great in picture. I mean, 100% better in person. But I was always impressed by their wet gear and their weapons because I would, in working on customs, I would want to have real weapons and not the Nerf guns that other companies put with action figures. I mean, you know, so I would get the crates, the little weapons crates that they would sell. And just the stuff that's in those is amazing.
Right? Well, and then check this guy out. No, so this is Sidewind. No. Sorry, that character right there that we just reviewed, that was an Atlas, sorry. That was Sidewinder. So I think I called him Atlas. I was wrong. So that's Sidewinder. This character here, this is Atlas. Now, one of the things I really like about him is, so his machine gun, he's got different types of mags. So he's got the drum, and then he's got your standard, you know, your big high capacity stick mags. But they all, of course, come out. You can take the drum off, and you can put his regular magazine. You know, and so I just think that is the coolest thing. Drop in the magazine, of course. And they look like, I think they're shotgun shells, which is really cool. Yeah, it's like an automatic shotgun. Automatic shotgun. So I'll actually let you hold this, and I'll show this off. So you've got this automatic shotgun, which just is badass looking. And the shells, you can see the red, and then the back of the shell where it's, you know, the gold color.
Yeah, something that we didn't get on it. I like the details on his beanie. And he's a big, like, you can tell. He's a big guy. Beefy dude.
And he is. And
he's got a different body.
Yes, he does. And I love his vest. And that's the thing, is his vest is different from others. Yeah. This one, and you can look at the Molly pack for the magazine pouches. It's just, he looks like he's somebody that would be like maybe a SWAT guy or a DEA guy kicking in your door, and you'd be shitting yourself when you see this guy. Yeah, for sure. And that's what I want to see when I buy an action figure, and I'm buying a guy who, you know, I want it to look like this. I mean, just an amazing character.
He's a big beefy boy. He's got some. He looks amazing.
Yeah, and I know that there's a few others in the Wave 5 line. There's, and I might be saying these wrong, so if I am, I apologize. I think one is called Senshi. I definitely want to get him. He looks really cool. He looks like maybe a martial artist kind of guy. Looks like a samurai.
Yeah, he looks like that.
And then he's got, I don't know how to say that word.
Praetorian?
Maybe it's either Praetorian. And again, if I'm saying it wrong,
it's either Praetorian or Praetorian.
And we may be saying it wrong. I didn't order those at the time. I will be ordering one here soon.
High school was 30 years ago.
I graduated in 97, so yeah, mine 30 years. Jesus.
I graduated in 91.
But yeah, no, they're just outstanding figures. I mean, they really are. And so I will be ordering the rest of the figures in the wave. But I mean, they look great. I mean, so far every single one that I've come across, I've seen, just not one has disappointed me. Yeah. You know. And then that leads me to now these are some of the older waves. Eclipse.
That figure is really cool. I've seen that.
Right? She's really cool. I need to probably open her, but I want to get maybe another one before I do. But she's...
Yeah, see, I remember seeing this one too.
Yeah, and she's a great figure. Really, really cool detail on her. I think I might have another version of her. Let's have a look. Oh yeah, I have another version of her as well. This one's really cool because this looks like if she was like maybe in the Middle East or something like that.
Yeah.
Where she's got her wrap, her scarf. And I'm probably saying it wrong on what it's called, but so for that I do apologize. But she's a badass character, man.
Yeah, very, very cool. Like that's what I like that they do, is you get different versions, and that's something I created using Joe's myself. Was to create. I created my own versions of team. Like I put together a desert team. I put together like a night ops jungle team. Like, and Valaverse does that themselves, so you don't have to spend the time making it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like I really love, and then they have their Arctic stuff. Like I've got this one, and I opened them up, but because of space, I wanted to put them back. I need to find a shelf just for Valaverse stuff. But one of my favorite characters was their Arctic Warfare figure, which you could open this if you want. And then I bought the sets from him. So I've got the Arctic weapons set, which I love. And then he's got a ghillie suit. So I've got the Arctic ghillie suit with the, he has his sniper gear, all that, which is really cool. And it has the backpack that opens up, or not the backpack, but the case, sorry. So that was really cool. And then there's another Arctic gear set, which, or actually no, this is, the Arctic gear pack, which was, again, really cool. I mean, again, he is a fantastic figure. And if you want an army build, he's great for that.
Yeah, that's what it looks like there.
And then I'll show you. So this was the figure that everybody at the show was talking about. And this is the Bone Collector. And the funny thing is, my wife loves this figure, too. She's like, that's a cool one. Now, of course, I didn't get the bloody one, but that's all right. I think he looks badass regardless. But
okay, yeah, I've seen that one.
Yeah, he looks cool, though, man.
Yeah, he does. He does look really cool.
You know, he kind of reminds me of that movie, Willow. You know, the guy who wore that the horn thing on his face?
Okay, yeah.
That's who he kind of reminds me of that, but more of modern, just because he's got
that like Viking style.
Yeah. So I really enjoy that figure. I'll zoom up on it here. In fact, I need to open up one of those.
The sculpt on this head is amazing.
Right?
And once again, this is another figure with a completely different body.
Oh, yeah. And then another one of my favorite figures in the line. This one is Blowback.
Oh, wow.
Right? They're like a sniper, but he comes with a ghillie suit and all that. So he'd be your jungle warfare guy, jungle sniper. And just, wow. I mean, he looks amazing.
Oh, you even got the head. He's got the head with the one eye closed for sniping.
Right?
Colossal sniper rifle.
Look, he's got the, I think there's the viewfinder.
The viewfinder, what's it called? Tachometer?
Is that what it is? Yeah.
Check the distance. Wow.
For the spotter?
Yeah, for the spotter, yeah. Wow.
Right? I mean, they spare no expenses.
And the detail in this camouflage is...
See, and I think the next review, we're going to have to, because there's so many Valaverse stuff, we're going to have to do multiple reviews. And so I think the next review we do, when the next time I come back, is we will review Bone Collector. I'll open one up. We'll definitely review Blowback here, because he does look, I mean, he's amazing. We'll review the Arctic, Trooper. And then, of course, some of my favorite characters, which, I mean, I'm in love with the Swarm. And it's funny, so I'm not a big sci-fi guy, but I freaking love these.
Yeah, these things look so amazing. When I see these on I always want to buy them, and I just really don't have the room.
Right.
But like it's just such a cool concept.
Well,
And I've always really kind of wondered like what the story behind them is.
so you got to get the comic. See, I need to buy the comic. I'm gonna buy the comic because I kind of wonder too the story now. Although for me, because I love him so much, I'm the kind of person where I don't even need the story now, just because I do love it, but I do want to read the story. You know, because I guess it would be kind of cool to know what the story behind everything is. But he's got is a Chris Vector.
Yeah.
Yeah, is that a Chris Vector or is that just a 9 that's converted?
No, it looks like
Like a Glock with the...
No, it's a Vector.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. I couldn't tell. I might be wrong. I'm not really up to date on some of my guns anymore. But I mean, he looks...
I'm updated on mine through Call of Duty.
Oh, okay. But this one, like, I love it. It glows in the dark.
Oh, does it?
Yes,
Nice.
these ones I've opened. I just put them back in here just for transport. So these two I've opened up. But again, because transporting all this stuff, I put them back in the packaging. And I actually run the fishing line because they have the wings. They're actually hanging over my stuff. So, but I mean, they're just fantastic figures. I need to actually buy like a couple more of these just so I can have each alternate head. And this guy comes with 3 heads, dude. Look at this. I love them. I love, again, what they've done with this line.
Yeah, it's an amazing line.
Just the stuff that Valaverse puts out, it's quality, it's attention to detail, it's, again, it's everything. This is everything I want in a figure and a company. You know, and again, I mean, it's just, they are fantastic figures. So much to where, I mean, and there's so many cool things that I brought today, we would be spending hours, and we can't do that. So we're definitely going to have to do a part 2, where I am going to bring a Bone Collector open. We're going to have to open up, you know, the blowback character. We're going to have to open up all the swarm, and I have other...
Basically, it's a video of us playing with toys.
Yes! You know, and so we're going to have to do that, and I'm going to order the other Wave 5 figures, too. And then I have some other figures that I didn't bring today as well, from other waves and stuff. But again, I mean, these are just, they're fantastic.
And the crazy, like, Valaverse was is what actually kind of drove, oddly enough, is what drove Hasbro into signing a deal with Sergeant Slaughter again. Because they brought their Sergeant Slaughter out. Mm-hmm. Which I believe was also, it was licensed, right? Wasn't he licensed?
Yeah, he was licensed, yeah.
Yeah, so they had a licensed Slaughter. They brought their Slaughter out. 2
Slaughters.
That's right, they did bring out 2. Yeah. And that actually drove Hasbro into striking a deal with Slaughter again to bring him.
And no, I will say this. I love the Hasbro Sergeant Slaughter. I will say that. But the Valaverse one, to me, feels more military. He feels more...
And that's where I like Valaverse better than G.I. Joe, because my problem with the G.I. Joes is they don't feel militaristic.
Yes.
It feels... Like, I've always joked, and I've said it on multiple podcasts, my problem with G.I. Joe, even when I was a kid, like, Quick Kick was one of my biggest problems with G.I. Joe. Because, number one, he was an actor. He was barefooted and shirtless through the entire show.
In an Arctic scene.
And what are you doing with an elite military group? You're an actor. Right. It doesn't make any sense. Like, certain things, like and that was just them throwing random characters in, which I get it, because Quick Kick is a cool character, but, like, you could have gave him a military background. Like, you could have done, you know, nowadays, like, and that's what, when we get Quick Kick now, that's what we got, was the Quick Kick we had. And
well, maybe
I just want to pop the head off of it and put it on a different body.
The only thing I thought about with Quick Kick, maybe the reason why they did that was early 80s. It was the era of Reagan. And here you got this guy who's president who was nothing but an actor. So maybe that was their take on it. I have no idea. Well, I don't know what the story behind that was.
It's all...
I should ask Flint.
It's all just...
Because Flint, you know, wrote a lot of the animated, you know.
It's all just... all the cartoon was... And all the comic book were commercials to sell.
Well, of course.
That's really all it was. And it was just ways to bring out new figures. And when you and I get it. But when you're dealing with when you got stuff like this that can actually be militaristic, and that's something like I would love to see a line, and Valaverse is very close in it, but it does get into the fantasy aspect too. I would like to see something that was, I wouldn't say grassroots militaristic, but very, very close. Like you can bring in fantasy. Hell, I don't care. You can bring in zombies. You can bring whatever you want.
Yeah.
But have it based on military. And like G.I. Joe kind of started to go that way, and then they went off into God knows where. And then, I mean, G.I. Joe started when they originally started in the what was it, 60s or 50s with the 12-inch figures. It was straight up military.
Yeah. Well, and then that's why. So when you look at, like, for example, the G.I. Joe we grew up on, it was the cartoon or the comic book that sold it.
Right.
And that goes back to my point with this. I've never read the comic,
right.
Although I need to now or want to. It's like, so G.I. Joe growing up, it was the cartoon. I'm actually guilty of not really getting so much into the comic until I was older. Even though the comic is awesome.
Comics are amazing.
You know, I didn't get until I was a little bit older. So the cartoon was what got me into it. Ninja Turtles, it was the cartoon that got me into it. Same with, I didn't really read the comic till I was older. Comics, amazing. But it was the cartoon. A lot of these things, Thundercats, Voltron, it was all the cartoon. This is the first toy line that I'm head over heels about that I don't know the story. But it's the figures that, it's like, yeah, I want to read the story because I want to know on that point, but I feel like I can create my own just because of how amazing they look. And again, they really do. They are amazing, every single one of them. I mean, they are just absolutely fantastic figures, the detail. I love how he's holding the cigar properly in his hand, and you can see the back part coming through, so it's coming like if it's like this. So I love the way he's holding the cigar, you know, the haircut, the fade in the back. I mean, just his expression, the cheekbones. And did you see he's got a scar too? Or I can't tell if that's a scar or that's... Yeah, it looks like scars.
It does, yeah.
Yeah, but again, it's just the detail on the face.
The way they make these figures is amazing. It's all internal pins, too.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
It seems to be a bear to take apart.
I wouldn't even want to take them apart. And again, that's the thing, is like, you don't have to do that because they make so many different versions of the characters to where I wouldn't even want to take apart one of these because they look so awesome. The only thing I'll be taking apart will be when I order a tan Vanguard, which I'm going to probably have to wait till the beginning of next year because, you know, holidays coming up, got to get some gifts. But I'm going to get a tan one. I'm going to have you paint it for my wife, and that'll be the only thing Valaverse I ever take apart. But when it comes to the figures, they're just so flippin' amazing. And I know there's other companies out there who they've made accessory packs and things to enhance certain vehicles like the vamp, stuff like that. There's nothing that can be made for this
that they didn't already put out.
Yeah. Now, I know Valaverse, they're going to release some stuff. They've got the cow bar thing, the thing that goes in the front.
Oh, the cow pusher.
The cow pusher. They've got some really cool stuff that's coming out next year. I'll buy the Valaverse stuff for it. But I will never put something aftermarket on this because Valaverse is doing it. I mean,
awesome thing is, and as a collector, and if you're a kid who likes, say you like the classifieds, these fit in seamlessly with your classified figures.
Yep.
So it's not something that's that odd scale, like say a McFarlane toy or like you have the Marvel Select, which is just. It's on the same scale, but slightly scaled down. They're just a little smaller.
Yep.
These are right on the exact... So, I mean, you can build a huge army between classifieds and Valaverse, and, they're interchangeable. You could... I mean, endless... Like, when I do my figures or what I do, mostly it's creating customs, but I create stories in my own head, and them being interchangeable like that, you could just do so much with it.
Oh yeah.
You could have a whole different. Like I said, I prefer my stuff to be more grounded in reality. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot on Cobra's side that is just unrealistic.
Yeah.
And you could use the Valaverse as strictly as a rebel force,
right? Oh yeah, I mean, you definitely could. I mean, yeah, I mean, I love them. I think they're fantastic. Um, so yeah, so you're gonna be getting yourself some Valaverse stuff soon, huh?
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure.
Well, you heard it here, guys. Richard is gonna be picking himself up some Valaverse figures. I mean, they're amazing, man. I mean, they really are.
Yeah,
What they've done is just something that's you don't see really anywhere else. And so again, I am a proud supporter and collector of Valaverse Action Force figures and vehicles, for now and for forever. I mean, it's awesome. It really is. Thank you, Richard, for having me over. Hopefully make this a regular thing. I know last week I canceled. We had rain and all that, and
life gets in the way sometimes.
Oh yeah. You want to tell them your site, how they can reach you and check out your store? By the way, if you guys see, he's got now what you see back here. He's got way more than this. He's got pop figures. Why don't you tell them what you got here?
We pretty much deal in a little bit of everything. We got mostly we have modern and vintage toys. We deal in primarily action figures, wrestling toys, hot toys. I've got everything from old classic. I mean, even old classic Toy Biz toys, the old school Marvel, up to your Marvel Legends. I've got a lot of vintage line things like G1 Transformers, vintage G.I. Joes. Pretty much we deal in video games, Funko Pops. If it's toy related, we usually deal in it. And you can find us at kscollectibles.com. Collectibles spelled with a K. And you can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, pretty much any social media. Which in the link for everything for our store, as well as our phone number in there, is all in the bio. We have a catalog of stuff available on our website, but there's much more stuff that's not even listed there. So if there's something particular you're looking for, feel free to contact me. You can either DM or directly call us. The ringer on the phone's broken, so leave a message or text and or email, and I will get back to you with. If I don't have it, I usually know somebody that can get it for you. So I can definitely lead you in the way of finding what you need.
Oh yeah, well I was looking for a Night Force APC, and sure enough, he had it. In fact, what was it? My wife saw the A-Team set you had, and we couldn't leave until we got it. She saw that, and she's like, "Oh, we got to buy that." And so he's got a lot of really cool stuff. And again, if he doesn't have it here, he can get it. So, so with that being said,
you know what else that we're recently going to start doing, or very soon going to be doing, is offering 3D prints of vehicles that.
Yes.
Where did I get those from, Steve?
from S3D Toys, and so he will be selling prints of vehicles I've designed, and so you guys will be able to start ordering those from him as well. We'll start getting some pricing out for those here soon.
I'm still learning the printer.
Right. But the really cool thing is Richard's a great guy. I've known him for many years. He's very honest. He will take care of you. Whether you're looking for a 3D printed vehicle that I've designed, you're looking for a vintage toy to something more modern and new, this is the guy to go to talk to. He will take care of you. And again, thank you for checking out this video. We will be back to talk more Action Force and other toys. He's got lots of toys here. And then I've got lots of toys that, I'll be bringing in. And again, anything I'm bringing in is stuff that I've paid for. So I'm not trying to get people to donate things or anything like that, just because I feel like an honest review is a review that is something that you've bought and paid for. You know what I mean? It's like you're not bought from the company. And not saying that any of these companies who do that, because the standard practice is a lot of companies do send out samples and things like that, and then you do get reviews from that, and there are a lot of honest reviews. But for me personally, I love supporting companies that are just great companies.
Yeah.
And
plus, these reviews are stuff that have already been in release. Like if you're getting it and you're sponsored after it's been when you're previewing it, it's different. It's a different type of a review. When you're reviewing something that's been out for a while, you get it for free. Then it can skew it. If it's something that hasn't hit the market yet, that makes sense because it's not widely available, and they just want your honest opinion. And usually that feedback is used in the final product. So it's a different type of review.
Exactly. But again, thank you for checking it out. You all be good, be safe, be happy, have a happy Thanksgiving, and peace.